I'm going to use number 29 from the homework as a review, all right? Just to make sure we're all on the same page here. I got a right triangle. This whole unit is on different things I can use using a right triangle. Everyone agrees it is not our 30-60 and our 45-45-90. We all agree there? Okay, so I cannot use those rules. Next up, I think, oh, since it's a right triangle, maybe Pythag will work. No, because I don't know anything about LJ. So on Friday before break, I introduced 3 new ratios. All right, sine, abbreviated SIN, cosine, abbreviated COS, and tangent, abbreviated TAN. Okay? Those ratios were all equal to something that had to do with opposite sides, adjacent, or hypotenuse. The device I had you guys remember or use to remember what the ratio and the order of them, SOHCAHTOA. Okay, SOHCAHTOA. Let's roll through it one time here. The S is for what ratio? Sine, abbreviated SIN when I write it, is equal to what two sides? Opposite over the hypotenuse. C is what ratio? Cosine, abbreviated COS. That's my adjacent over hypotenuse. And then T was my tangent ratio, abbreviated TAN. Excuse me. And that is opposite over adjacent. Okay? That's how I find those. So going to number 29, always look at the acute angle. If you start looking at the right angle and you go to it, what's the adjacent side? You're stuck. You're toast. All right, so always go from the acute angle. So now what you need to do is label the two sides that are given, so 33 and x, as opposite, hypotenuse, or adjacent. All right, let's open up the discussion today. Here we go, 6. Let me start out with 33. Is that opposite, the hypotenuse, or adjacent to 49? That's opposite. So on Friday, because you guys were rookies, I had you put a little O there for opposite. X, that is the what side? Opposite's out. 19, that is adjacent. Do not label the blank side. It's just going to get confusing. Do not label it. So now I say to myself, what do I use with the opposite side and the adjacent? Go up to SOHCAHTOA. Which ratio is appropriate if I have opposite and adjacent? 21, which one am I going to use here? Tangent. Everyone see how we came to that conclusion? So you're going to go tangent. I'll slow down so some of you can write this because God forbid I ask you do a couple problems over break, so I'll slow down so you guys can copy this. 2, what was the acute angle I used? Not here? Thank you. 23, acute angle? Not here either. Look at this. On fire. Okay, how about 1? What's the acute angle I've been using? Tangent of 49. Now you got to put the sides in the right order. Opposite over adjacent. 6, what side should go over what? There you go. So that's how I come up with the equation to solve for x. Now you got to solve it. Friday, how'd we solve it? Well, you can't do much now, but if I put the tangent of 49 over 1, what can I do? I can cross multiply this. Tangent of 49 times x equals, what do I have on the other side? 33. How do you get x by itself now? How do I get x by itself? Because then it's going to be all calc. 16, how do I get x by itself? And then x equals, I just go to my calculator now. Get a fraction template up. 33 over tan 49. There it is, and just round appropriately. So that's basically, we did a ton of those on Friday. Okay. Questions on that one? I'm going to do another one with you from the homework. Oh, yeah. Everyone good? Let's go to 57. Let's go to 57. Whether you did it or not, we're doing it all together. Find x and y. Quick question before I start. 19 in the house, 19. Okay, how are you? Good. You can only use sine, cosine, tangent in what type of triangles? Right triangles. So I asked that because you cannot use sine, cosine, tangent on this whole thing. You can't. It's not a right triangle. All right, you have to pick one of the two right triangles that are formed. So help me find y right now in this right triangle. Help me find y. Problem. No sides. I just have y. I need a second side for the ratios, right? Help me. Look at my diagram here. Help me get a second side so I can do sine, cosine, tangent. 10, can you get another side for me? Yeah, 32. That's what these markings mean back in the day, right? They're congruent. All right, I'll let you think about it. We're going from 54. Which ratio is appropriate? Day 2 now, I'm kind of done putting the O's, the A's, and the H's everywhere. So I'll let you guys look at that and try to figure out what ratio am I going to need there to find y. Sine, cosine, or tangent. Which one's appropriate for this right triangle? 10 again. Which one? You weren't here, Amon, anyway, so I'm not going to waste time. No. You better watch the video, boss. 15. Sine. Opposite over hypotenuse. We good? Cross multiply. It's in your calculator. You don't have to worry about radical form or anything. You're just rounding. 25.9. Okay, 25.9. What about x now? Yep. No. Nope. 25.9. Now I got to find x, but notice x is in a different right triangle. I can't use sine, cosine, tangent. I need an angle, don't I? To go from. Anybody can find an acute angle in that triangle to go from, and y mathematically? 3. Can you find another angle? Y 54. There you go. It's an isosceles triangle. Now look, you didn't even need sine, cosine, tangent if you didn't want to. Why not? I could have also busted out what on that triangle to the left? Pythag, yeah. I could have used Pythag if I wanted to. All right. But no Pythag allowed. I'm going to ask somebody, what do you want to use here? Sine, cosine, tangent to find x. Now that I know that's 54 degrees. You got options here. You got options, but I don't want to hear Pythag as an option. Here you go, 17. What do you want here? Okay, you got it. Cosine 54 equals adjacent x over hypotenuse 32. You could have also used tangent if you wanted to and used the 25.9. All right, we good? That's about as much reviewing from Friday as I'm going to do. Other than those two, anything else we want to look at from the homework? Anything else here we want to? Yes. Which one? 23. Yep, cosine of 30. They wanted to use your special right triangles. Perfect. Cosine of 30. So Violet, what type of triangle must I be working with if I see 30? Okay, 30, 60, 90. Now, instead of setting up and I probably should have went over one of these, but instead of setting up the chart, what have we put in the chart across from the 30? You remember our chart where it was our rules? What would you put across from? So 30, 60, 90. What would have been across from the 30? Okay. What would have been across from the 60? Okay. And then across from the 90, we would have put? Perfect. All right. Cosine of 30. So we're going from 30. What's cosine ratio? Ready? What's adjacent to the 30? Got it. Over the hypotenuse. Good so far? Now, they both have what in them? So it's just going to be radical 3 over 2. Okay, and the same thing for 45, 45, but now you're putting the rules across from the 45. Okay? Yep. Anything else? Yeah. Which part? What's perimeter mean? Okay, so you tell me, ready? I'll start with this side. How are you going to find that side? Here's 18. What's the 12? Here's my right angle. Yep, the adjacent. What's the x? Okay, how are we finding that side? Don't round to the end. We good? Okay, now I'll call this side y. That's the what now? Okay, hypotenuse. So you can use anything with hypotenuse now. What do you want to use? Okay, so cosine 18. What was adjacent again? Over. There you go. Don't round. Don't round. Add them together and add 12 to it. There's your perimeter. We good so far, Dylan? Okay. Area. It's what type of triangle? What's the area formula of a triangle? 1/2. Yep. And since it is a right triangle, the base and the height are just a fancy word term for the what of the right triangles? Legs. So 12 times whatever you found by doing tangent there. Not rounded. Plugging that in. Good? And by the way, any of these, pretty much fair game on Friday's quiz. Okay. We all good? Anything else? The rest of the week is sine, cosine, tangent. I am not getting off that the rest of the week. We're still going to do sine, cosine, tangent the rest of the week. Other questions? Okay, you ready to go with some word problems now? You ready to go? Let me see your work first, of course. We're going to our buddy's house here. I do need you to change something, though, for me. It says round your answer to the nearest mile. Can you change that to nearest 100th of a mile on this one? Hundredth of a mile, please. I have the older version of this problem. It used to be Janet's house, but Big Al came in and bought it. All right, because he's a boss, so he bought Janet's house, so now it's Big Al's house. Bottom line, how far is it from the school to Big Al's? How far are we going to walk here? All right, school to Big Al's house. So we all in agreement, school to Big Al's house. Got to find that distance. What type of triangle am I given? Right triangle. Is it one of the special ones? No, but all right, doesn't matter anymore if it's special or not because I can use sine, cosine, or tangent. All right, last time I asked this, what sides do we know here? 3. What is the 300 feet? That is opposite. And how about the distance from school to Big Al's? Hypotenuse. Everybody good? I got opposite and hypotenuse. Please don't touch the blank side. It's only going to get more confusing. All right, so if I have the opposite and the hypotenuse, which one of these 3 ratios is going to work for me here? All right, 7. Sine. Let's set it up. Sine, I abbreviate it SIN. I always use the acute angle in the problem, which for us is 41. Sine of 41, that's going to be equal to what ratio? Make sure the order does matter here. 22, what ratio? Go ahead, fill it in now, Dylan. Opposite is what? Over hypotenuse? Got it. And then we could put the sine of 41 over 1, and we got a little proportion we can cross multiply to solve. So I'll let you guys do that before we discuss the next issue that's going to come up. Maybe some of you can start seeing that, the next issue. Okay, so we get about 457 and change. Okay, everybody good? We're getting about 457 and change. All right, I only did this once to you on Friday, but it's going to happen a lot more. You got to be awake. Got to be awake. It says what? Nearest hundredth of a mile, and this 300 you just plugged into your formula is in feet. That's a problem, which means if that's in feet, so is that 457. So we now need to convert it to miles. Now, this is not something I would expect you to know, but it is on your formula sheet, which everyone has a copy of and will be allowed to use on every quiz or test. So if you have that, please get it out because that conversion is on there, miles to feet. I am not, if you know it off the top of your head, bonus, great. If you don't, not a big deal. It's on your formula sheet. All right, let's discuss now. Since it's on your formula sheet, 1 mile, how many feet? 5,280. Now, I get it. Some of you guys get real nervous and awkward, and you're like, should I divide or do I multiply? And it's like a 50-50 shot, and you just guess. I don't want you to guess, though. All right, whether I divide or multiply by 5,280. Here is a foolproof way to always know whether you divide or multiply. Watch what I'm about to do here. And some of you, if you don't need this, fine, don't use it. What's the conversion again? 1 mile is equal to what? 5,280 feet, right? What's our answer in? Feet. So keep it with the feet in the proportion and solve for how many miles? All right, that's just make a proportion out of it. This is just a conversion right off the formula sheet. Feet stays with feet, miles stay with miles. And as you cross multiply, what do you end up doing to the 457? Dividing or multiplying by 5,280? You end up dividing. And you can tell that by cross multiplying your proportion. Okay? So go ahead, divide by 5,280, and you'll realize why I had you change it to a hundredth of a mile. It's not that far to Big Al's house if you're at school. It's a very, very short walk. Hundredth of a mile, what are we looking at here? 3? Miles? 11 miles after 457 feet? So 0.0 hundredth, 0.0, 2 numbers after the decimal for hundredth. What's that third number? Rounds the 8 to? What? 0.08, that's 6, because hundredth is just 2. Thank you. You're good. So 9 hundredths of a mile to get there. Okay, again, the rule. Hey, the rule. You either convert at the end or at the beginning. You could have taken the 300 and put it into miles if you wanted to. Okay, do not do it in between, though. Do not do it during the problem. Convert at the end or at the beginning. We all good? Big Al to Big Al's house. All right, last one I'll do with you here, and then you're on your own in your groups. Go ahead, read about this silly shipmate going the wrong direction. So we went this 120 miles, got to here and was like, one jab. I should have just went east. Well, to get there now, he's got to go south. From this point right here, he's got to go south. How many? You guys have feet there. How many feet does he have to go south now? Okay, here we go. So some of you guys are already checking. Oh boy, my diagram's in miles. My answers has to be in feet. You can convert whenever. I always like converting at the end, but it's your call. All right, so first thing I need from somebody, sine, cosine, or tangent here for define how many feet directly south here. 19, what am I going to use here? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Sine, got it. Good job. Sine of 27 equals x over, I'm going to keep it miles and convert at the end. If not, you have whatever 120 miles is in feet right now. It's your call. Convert now, or we'll do it at the end. I do it at the end, but it's your call. You cross multiply. And you get about 54. Again, not rounding this number at all because I'm not done with the problem. So about 54 and change miles, but it needs to be in feet. So what am I going to have to do here? I'm going to have to multiply by 5,280. Yep. And again, if you're unsure why multiply, set up the proportion just like I did in the previous problem. And you will see we got to do a lot of feet here. Uh, 13, whenever you're ready. How many feet south? There you go. Big girl word right there. Good. Instead of 287,648. Nice job. Everybody good? Part B. How many extra miles did he go in the wrong direction versus just going in the correct direction, east? Well, we already know how many miles in the wrong direction he went. Wrong direction? Is this in miles or, yeah, this is in miles. I shouldn't have changed it. Sorry, this is miles. So we already went 120, right? Plus, what did we just find out in the previous part? Which one do I want, by the way? The 54, that's 287,000. Why 54? What are you rounding your answer to? Miles, so make sure everything's in miles. So plus your 54. So that's how many miles he went in the wrong direction. Versus just going east. All right, help me find east now. You got options, ladies and gentlemen. You have options. You got Pythag available. You have cosine available. You have tangent available. Go ahead. You choose your best one. Okay, choose your best one, but do not use rounded answers. Use the full calculator display. And then use Wrong direction minus east, that'll tell you how many extra miles. So find east however you want now. Pythag, tangent, or cosine. And then once you find east, figure out how many additional miles you went. So when you find the distance east, don't round that distance. You're not done yet, because that could throw you off by 1 or 2 miles. Okay, I used cosine to find east, and I got 106.9207. Your decimals may not match if you did Pythag or tangent. That's fine. That's fine, because the extra here should have been, what do we end up with? 68 miles. Now, hey, whoa, let me talk here. Let me talk. Let's say you got 69 or 67. Did you round before you were supposed to? Okay. You could have gotten 67 and maybe did Pythag or used tangent. That might have been the case. That's fine. So 67 or 68 is fine. As long as, again, you did not round this number here. Okay. You did not round that number. Questions to get there, because these next two are going to be a little bit tougher than this, what you're going to do in your groups. Go to number 4 real quick. I just have to review your properties here so you can do this one when you get to it. Rectangle properties. Anybody want to spit some out here? I'll let you know if you need it or not. Let's just go. What do we got? I don't need anything about the sides. Diagonals bisect each other. Keep going. What else about the diagonals? Diagonals congruent. Put those two together. What do I know about those 4 pieces? They form 4 isosceles triangles. That's important because what's across from these 2 congruent sides? And one more property. If we're doing sine, cosine, tangent, you need a what? You need a right triangle. All angles are right angles. So when you do this problem, there's your right triangle. Or there it is, whatever. All right, but it's not one of these 4 here. Okay? All right. Those are the answers. Go ahead, get to it with your groups. It's going to get tough. Watch out for unit conversions, unit changes.